Well, I've got the fingerboard all finished out with the fret markers and the fret indicators. They're not really frets, they're just strips of really thin maple that contrast nicely with the dark rosewood. And then we're going to use some mother of pearl, and these are just mother of pearl blanks that you can get from any luthier supply shop. I use Stu Mack a lot, and I've used Luthier's Mercantile International quite a bit for some of my supplies. Before we start cutting the mother of pearl blanks, we need to come up with a design for what we want to put in here, what we want to inlay. So I kind of drew up just a real simple sketch here of some of my ideas for the diamonds, just kind of a basic diamond shape, and then I'm going to leave a gap between the two pieces as they fit in here, so it gives a little bit of like a brown stripe or a rosewood stripe down through the middle of it. Might look kind of cool. But this is just rough right now. It just kind of gave me an indication of what it might look like if we placed them at our fret markers for up to the 12th fret, and those kind of line right up. It's full size. I just used the fretboard as a guide. So now I'm going to more accurately lay out my ideas for patterns on another piece of smaller Bristol, and I'm going to do this to really accurately as possible. So I'm going to cut these little shapes out and glue them to the mother. The first 4 diamonds will actually fit, the same size will fit all the way through the 9th fret. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 4 exactly the same shape and size, and then I'm going to split them diagonally down the middle and just kind of separate them out. Just separate them out a little bit so they create that little rosewood stripe through the middle. I want it to still be as accurate as possible, so I hope you can see what's going on here. I'm just lining my cut edge up, and I'm just going to take that whole strip right off with an X-Acto knife. My Bristol's about one. And boom, right there. Okay, and so that gives me a nice, real straight edge to when I saw against it. Actually throw that piece away. And there's 2 of them. This is the tricky part, getting these cuts lined up where you want to. And there's our 4 basic shapes, our basic shape for the first 4 inlays. So if I place the patterns on the patterns I just cut onto the fingerboard, you can kind of see the look that we'll get once we inlay the mother of pearl. So here you see the cutting pattern for the pieces. There's 2 sections, so I get 4 from each little square. And I should be able to get it all off of this piece of mother of pearl here. So here I've got my bird beak platform set up for cutting the mother of pearl. Just basically a flat piece of wood with a triangle cut out, and I've marked where that triangle is, so when I've got a piece sitting on top I can see where the middle is. Just going to set that on. I've scratched in here, just a little scratch in right there where the center of this piece is, and I'm just going to cut it right straight down the middle. I'll use a little piece of leather as a clamping caul, and it also will act as a fence from where I need to make my cut. So I'll set it up and line up this nice freshly cut straight edge here with that. And notice it's pretty thick. Thin leather wouldn't work very well. And it also acts as my as a clamping caul. It's soft on the, and I can just take a little spring clamp and clamp that down right there at the edge. That way it's held, and then I'll just cut straight up to my mark, and then I'll turn it around and come at it from the other direction. I'm going to mark that line with my little scribing, just kind of scratch it in so I can got a nice visual on where I'm cutting, and then I'll just use the leather as a fence and just ride the blade right up across it. So it's held nice and tight now, so I can concentrate more on what I'm doing with the cut. So this blade cuts down, so I've got to get it started. The best way to start it is to kind of bring it up a little bit. Soon you'll start. I just want to keep it, I don't want to cut into my fence. Just want to go straight through, and I'll just make a few shortcuts first to get how I want it to go. Best to go really slow. Use two hands. Keep making sure that you're channeling your cutting. I can clean it up a little bit with some sandpaper later, but I want to try to make this cut as straight as I can get it and not be cutting into the leather fence. So now I'm set up to come in from the other side of the blank, and notice I've added a little extra protection there and clamping so I can finish that all the way through. And it just, I don't know if you can see it, but right at that end point is where that first cut ends, and so I'm going to cut all the way through, and that should give me the two pieces I need. About ready to come through to the other side. I'm going to lighten up my strokes here. And there it is. Through. Oh, just one little tiny thread holding it. So I'll sand those up and trim them up a little bit, and we'll start cutting more.